Listen up, my friend, life's a battlefield and you're in the thick of it. Aren't you? You're out there fighting battles nobody sees, carrying scars from losses nobody acknowledges, wrestling with doubts that creep in at 2 a.m., whispering, am I enough? Will I ever make it? What's your name? Where are you at right now, physically, mentally, spiritually? Are you stuck in a dead-end job that's draining your soul, a relationship that's dimming your light, or a season where every step feels like walking through quicksand? Maybe you're staring at a stack of bills, wondering how you'll make ends meet, or your heart's heavy with grief, betrayal, or dreams that feel out of reach. Perhaps you're standing at a crossroads, unsure if you should keep fighting or just give up. God's speaking to you today loud and clear, his voice cutting through the chaos like a beacon in the storm. He's saying, my child, I've placed a strength in you that no trial can break, a purpose no darkness can steal. Psalm chapter 46 verse 1 proclaims, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. He's calling you to step away from the noise, those notifications, deadlines, expectations, and into the sacred quiet where his voice reigns supreme. The world's screaming for your attention, trying to drown out your dreams, but God's whisper is louder, more powerful. If you just pause, breathe, and listen. You ready to walk into the solitude where he shapes warriors? Let's dive deep into the holy sanctuary of your own company, where God's truth transforms you into the unstoppable force he created you to be, a force so rooted in his strength that nothing can shake you. Have you ever noticed that some of the strongest, most grounded people you'll ever meet are the ones who choose to walk alone, not because they've been abandoned, not because they're antisocial or broken, but because they've uncovered a divine truth most folks spend their entire lives running from. These aren't people who stumbled into solitude by chance, they chose it. Led by God's hand because they heard his call to seek something deeper than the world's fleeting applause. God's shown them a truth that's like finding a hidden treasure in a field, pieces worth more than any crowd's company. Silence, when you lean into it with faith, becomes a sacred cathedral where his voice echoes, clear and unshakable. Solitude, when embraced with trust in him, isn't loneliness, it's a superpower, a divine gift that sets your soul ablaze with purpose. These are the people who stood in the fire of life's trials, betrayal, loss, rejection, and come out not just standing, but stronger, because they leaned on God's strength, not the world's validation. They're like oak trees, roots deep in his truth, unshaken by storms. There's a quiet strength, a holy courage, in choosing yourself not out of fear, not out of pride, but out of deep, unshakable respect for the person God crafted you to be. It's like standing on a mountaintop, wind howling, but your heart is still because you know he's with you, guiding every step. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 states, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. You're not alone in your solitude. You're walking hand in hand with God's purpose, a purpose he wrote for you before the stars were hung in the sky. What's your purpose, my friend? What's the fire God put in your heart? Are you chasing it, or are you letting the world's noise drown it out? Right now, where are you standing? Are you in a crowded room feeling invisible, or alone, wondering if anyone sees you? God sees you. He's calling you to stop running, to stop chasing, and to start listening. The world's out there, spinning in circles, chasing relationships, distractions, noise, applause, all to fill a void they think defines them. But some hear God's whisper and realize they're already complete in him. They stop looking outward for validation, for someone to tell them they're enough, because they've heard his voice saying, you are mine. They turn inward, connecting with the divine spark he placed within, like a well of living water Jesus spoke of at the Samaritan woman's side. They look in the mirror not with doubt, not with longing, but with certainty, and they declare, I complete me because God made me whole. That's not arrogance, that's faith, bold and unapologetic. Living alone mentally, emotionally, even physically isn't a curse. It's a liberation, a holy freedom that breaks the chains of the world's expectations. It means you no longer fear your own thoughts because God guides them like a shepherd leading his sheep. You stop running from your past because he's redeemed it, turning ashes into beauty, pain into purpose. You stop filling your life with shallow conversations or empty connections just to avoid facing yourself. Because you've learned that solitude, blessed by God, isn't a void, it's a sanctuary where you grow stronger, where His Spirit molds you. Some relationships drain your spirit more than being alone ever could. Think about it, those connections that leave you exhausted, questioning your worth, dimming the light God gave you. They're not just tiring, they're thieves, stealing the energy meant for your purpose. When you choose solitude, you break free from the constant, soul-sucking pull of ties that don't align with God's plan for your soul. You reclaim your time as a sacred offering to Him. You protect your space as a temple of His presence. You move through life without needing to beg permission or explain your God-given vision to those who can't see the fire He lit in you. You wake up each morning with peace in your heart, not tension in your chest, because you're not bracing for another day of being misunderstood, overlooked, or underestimated. Instead, you rise with clarity, move with purpose, live with intention, all under God's guidance. That's where your power begins, a power rooted in His truth, not the world's fleeting applause. When you live alone, you get to decide how your life unfolds, free from the world's demands, like a bird released from a cage. No more petty arguments over trivial things like where the dishes go or dimming your passions to keep someone else comfortable. No more silencing your voice to avoid conflict that's not yours to carry. You design your space to honor the person God made you to be, a space where His presence dwells, where every corner reflects His purpose for you. You build routines that feed your growth, not slow it down, like a gardener tending a vine to bear fruit. Want to start working at 5 a.m., pouring your heart into the calling He gave you, whether it's writing, painting, or building something new. Do it. Want to take a midnight walk under the stars, praying and listening for His voice, feeling the night air on your face as you surrender your worries. No explanations needed, you're free to move in rhythm with God's call. That autonomy, that holy freedom does something transformative to you. It trains your mind to hear His voice above the noise, like Samuel in the temple, listening for the Lord's call. It builds discipline rooted in faith, like Daniel praying 3 times a day, unshaken by threats. It creates a strength and order most never know because they're too busy bending to fit someone else's chaos, like a ship tossed in a storm without an anchor. In solitude, you stop reacting to the world's demands and start creating with God's vision, co-authoring your life with the Creator. You stop managing others' moods and start listening to your own needs, guided by His wisdom, like Jesus withdrawing to pray alone. You respond to life with clarity, not impulse, trusting His Spirit to lead, like a compass pointing true north. And the most beautiful part, you hear your own voice again, the one God gave you, clear, strong, unfiltered by the world's expectations, like a trumpet sounding His truth. Isaiah chapter 30 verse 15 reveals, "In quietness and trust is your strength." In relationships that don't align with God's purpose, your voice grows quieter over time, like a song fading into static. Your truth, the truth He planted in you, becomes a whisper instead of a bold stand, like Peter denying Jesus in fear. You compromise small things at first, like skipping a morning prayer to please someone else. Then bigger pieces, like silencing your dreams to avoid rocking the boat. Over time, you barely recognize the person staring back in the mirror, a shadow of the warrior God created. But when you're alone, truly alone with God, you listen not to the world's noise, placed inside you, like a seed waiting to bloom. It's like tuning a radio to His frequency, cutting through the static of opinions and expectations. You reconnect with your divine compass, the one He gave you to navigate life's storms. You sharpen your intuition through prayer, through quiet moments where His Spirit speaks, like a gentle breeze after a hurricane. You make decisions based on His truth, not fear or guilt, trusting that He's leading you to green pastures, even through the valley of the shadow of death. People mistake being alone for being lost. But let me tell you, the most found, spiritually grounded, emotionally rich people are those who've walked the longest roads alone with God. They've cried alone, but He wiped their tears. They've healed alone, but He was their physician, mending their broken places. They've rebuilt alone, but he was their foundation, solid as a rock. And they've risen stronger than ever, held by his grace, shining with his light like a city on a hill. They've built a life where their soul can breathe, not just survive, but breathe deeply, freely, unapologetically in his presence, like a child resting in their father's arms. Philippians chapter 4 verse 13 declares, "I can do all this through him who gives me strength." Living alone teaches you to pour into yourself as God pours into you, like rain nourishing a parched land. It shows you that you don't have to be everything for others to be worthy. He's already declared your worth in his word, calling you his masterpiece. You don't need to fix, save, or shrink yourself to be loved. You are worthy just as you are because God says so and his word is final. Imagine standing before him, knowing he sees you as fearfully and wonderfully made, a vessel for his glory. When you stop carrying others' burdens, you find the strength to carry the purpose he's given you, like a runner shedding weights to race unhindered. Real freedom doesn't come from escaping life's trials. It comes from owning your truth, standing in it even when it's hard, claiming your space, thoughts, direction, and peace as gifts from God. When you live alone, you stop waiting for someone to choose you. You realize God chose you before you were born, and you choose yourself in his name, like David choosing to face Goliath with faith. That's more than enough. There's no applause, no standing ovation, no crowd cheering. And that's okay, you're not here for the show. You're here for the shift. The transformation God's working in you when you stop chasing approval and start aligning with his plan. Like a potter shaping clay. When you walk alone, you become a force, untouchable by anything that tries to distract, diminish, or define you, because you're rooted in his truth, not the world's noise. What's your dream, my friend? What's the vision God's given you? Are you chasing it? Or are you letting the world's distractions pull you away? Step into his quiet and let him show you who you are, a child of the King, called for greatness. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9 confirms, "You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." So if you've ever felt called to step away from the chaos, if you've ever felt more yourself in solitude than in a crowd, trust that instinct. It's God calling you home to his peace, like a weary traveler finding rest. If you've ever felt stronger alone than around those who couldn't see your worth, that's not weakness, that's your soul hearing his voice, urging you to rise, like Lazarus hearing Jesus call. That's transformation whispering, you don't have to settle. This is your moment to return to the power God gave you, to stop shrinking and start becoming not the world's version of success, but the highest vision of who he created you to be. It all starts in the quiet, in the solitude, in the choice to honor yourself as his creation. Peace is the most powerful thing you can protect. And once you find it in him, you'll never trade it for friction again. You won't beg for belonging or compromise your truth to keep people who aren't meant for your path. You walk forward alone, perhaps, but stronger than ever, with God by your side, like Moses leading through the wilderness. This is limitless motivation, rooted, still unwavering. It begins when you realize walking alone isn't the end. It's the start of becoming unstoppable in his strength, like a warrior armed with his armor. When you live alone, silence stops feeling awkward. It becomes sacred, a holy ground where God speaks, like the burning bush before Moses. What once felt empty or uncomfortable transforms into something profound, a cathedral built in your soul where his presence dwells. In that silence, you hear everything you've drowned out for years, the noise of others' opinions, like a crowd shouting over your thoughts, distractions that numbed you, like a drug dulling your spirit, relationships that drained you, like leeches sapping your strength, forced smiles to survive the day, like a mask hiding your truth. They fade, and what remains is stillness, God's stillness, where his voice becomes clear as crystal. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts aren't fighting for space, they're breathing, expanding, rising with clarity and strength like eagles soaring on his wind. That's when it hits you how much energy you've wasted trying to be understood, explaining yourself to people who didn't want to know you, seeking validation from those who only saw what you could offer. like a performer begging for applause. That emotional labor doesn't just tire you, it empties you, leaving you a shell of the person God created, full of dreams, passion, fire. But when you're alone with Him, everything changes. Confusion dissolves like mist in the morning sun, burned it away by His light. The fog lifts and clarity walks in, not as a whisper, but as a steady, undeniable presence. Like Jesus calming the storm with a word, you stop guessing who you are. You stop letting others define you like labels stuck on a jar. You stop performing, pretending you're okay to keep the peace, walking on eggshells, absorbing energy that's not yours, like a sponge soaking up poison. There's no one to misread your silence, no one projecting their pain onto you. It's just you and God's truth, and there's beauty in that honesty most never experience, like a rare gem hidden in plain sight. Living alone removes the static, stripping life to its core, like a sculptor chiseling away excess to reveal the masterpiece. You don't need to sort through chaos to find what matters. You're standing in it, held by His grace like a child in their Father's arms. Psalm chapter 23 verse 1 states, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." What you discover is what most avoid. Peace isn't found in comfort, distractions, or crowds. It's found in clarity. And clarity comes when the world gets quiet, when you're alone with God's truth. When you're surrounded by people, especially the wrong ones, their voices cloud your mind like a storm blocking the sun. You second guess yourself, hesitate on truths you once knew deep in your gut, like a compass thrown off by magnets. Slowly, you forget your own voice, the one God gave you, drowned out by the cacophony of others' expectations. But alone with Him, you recalibrate like a compass finding true north in His presence. You hear that inner voice again, and this time it commands with His authority, like Moses before the Red Sea, parting waters with faith. It tells you what needs doing, points you to your next level, reminds you of your worth, like a royal heir reclaiming their throne. Without others' expectations or emotional noise, you move with purpose, precision, power. Like David facing Goliath with a sling in God's strength. You're not seeking approval or waiting for permission. Like a prisoner freed from chains. You're not dimming your flame for others' shadows, like a candle shining in darkness. People chase clarity in relationships, feedback, validation, social approval, romance, groupthink, but it's not there, like chasing a mirage in the desert. Clarity lives in solitude, in quiet mornings before the sun rises, just you, your breath, and God's whisper, like Elijah in the cave hearing the still, small voice. It lives in midnight silence when the world sleeps, and you hear your soul's rhythm without interference, like a heartbeat synced with His. Living alone gives you that sacred space where truth isn't distorted, where vision sharpens, where you see yourself as God sees you without filters, projections, or judgment, like a mirror reflecting His glory. Once you've tasted that peace, you don't accept confusion, like a traveler rejecting a muddy stream for clear water. Living alone isn't a retreat, it's a revolution. A step toward the you God created, like a caterpillar breaking free from its cocoon. Clarity demands courage, standing still when the world races, looking inward when it pulls you out, like Jesus in the wilderness, undeterred by temptation. But when you choose solitude, you choose yourself in ways you never have, guided by His hand, like a sheep following the shepherd. You stop asking permission to be who God made you. You stop trading peace for connections that drain you. You don't explain your need for quiet, your choice of discipline over distraction, or why your life doesn't revolve around pleasing others. You live freely, fully, truthfully, like a river flowing in His grace. John chapter 16 verse 33 affirms, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." That freedom is rare, like a pearl of great price in a field of stones. Most are weighed down by others' emotional baggage, schedules, moods, bending to fit chaos not their own, like a ship tossed in a storm without an anchor. But when it's just you and God, everything shifts like the dawn breaking after a long night. You move when He says move, like Noah building the ark against all odds. You rise when your soul, stirred by His Spirit, commands it like Mary rising to visit Elizabeth, full of faith. You act now, not later. Not someday, because his timing is perfect. Like the Israelites crossing the Jordan at his command. No agreement needed, no validation required. Want to dive into your craft at 4 a.m. in silence, pouring out the gift he gave you, whether it's writing a book, painting a masterpiece, or building a business. Do it. Want to pray in the dark or meditate under moonlight, seeking his face, feeling his presence wrap around you like a warm embrace? Go for it. You're not bound by anyone's emotional clock or waiting for understanding, like a prophet speaking truth in a desert. That self-governed existence unlocks power, like Samson pushing down pillars with God's strength. You become dangerous in the best way, untouchable by manipulation, unmoved by chaos, unwavering in your truth, because God anchors you like a rock in a raging sea. You stop shrinking to fit rooms not built for your spirit, like a lion caged in a pen. You stop entering spaces where your authenticity is negotiated, like a diamond dulled to fit a cheap setting. You stop dimming your light for others' insecurities, like a star refusing to shine. You live boldly, unapologetically, not for attention, but for alignment with God's purpose, like Esther stepping into the king's court for such a time as this. Even the best relationships can carry invisible chains, small compromises that grow heavy like weights on a runner's feet. You skip routines, hold your tongue, downplay ambitions, trade fire for comfort, surrender rhythm for others' expectations. That's not love, it's emotional imprisonment disguised as connection, like a bird with clipped wings. But alone, you learn to choose yourself daily, making your routines energy, clarity, and truth non-negotiable. As God intended, like a temple set apart for his glory. You learn peace isn't earned, it's protected, a gift from him, like a shield in battle. Being alone isn't about lacking love, it's about building love that starts within, rooted in his eternal love, like a vine abiding in him. Once you find clarity in solitude, confusion loses its grip, like darkness fleeing the light. Once you taste freedom, dependence feels suffocating, like a chain broken by his hand. Once you walk your path alone with God, settling for less is unthinkable, like a king refusing a beggar's rags. You move without hesitation, speak without filtering, heal by sitting with yourself, fully honestly in his presence, like a wounded soldier tended by the great physician. In that silence, a divine rhythm emerges, unrushed, uncompetitive, tuned to your soul and his call, like a river flowing in his grace, steady and unstoppable. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 urges, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Solitude gives you permission to stop running someone else's race, to stop wearing shoes not made for your path. Like a marathoner finding their stride. You're not pulled by others' timelines or measured by their milestones, like a tree judged by another's roots. You stop seeking validation and lock in on your lane, your growth, your voice, guided by his word like a lamp unto your feet. You trust your pace, honor the voice you ignored when the world was loud, follow instincts without needing approval. Like Abraham stepping out in faith to a land unseen. Living alone reintroduces you to forgotten parts of yourself, reminding you that you're capable, intuitive, powerful, not because others say so, but because God chose you through his Spirit, like a mirror reflecting his image in you. That self-sourced power makes surface-level connections lose their shine like cheap trinkets next to gold. You see them for what they are, temporary, shallow, distracting from his purpose. Like weeds choking a garden. You crave only what nourishes your soul in him, like the woman at the well finding living water that never runs dry. Real freedom doesn't knock or need a stage, it walks in, owns its presence, speaks truth, even if no one claps, like John the Baptist crying out in the wilderness. Like the tallest trees thriving in the wilderness, you grow deep, quiet, undisturbed in God's presence, rooted in his soil. Step away from chaos into his silence, and you don't just exist, you grow deeply, powerfully, like a mustard seed becoming a mighty tree unshaken by storms. Noise distracts, keeping you chasing validation, trapped in cycles that don't lift you, like a hamster on a wheel. But alone with your thoughts and God's truth, you face what you've avoided. Like Jonah in the belly of the whale, confronting his call. That's where growth begins, in the quiet confrontation between who you are and who he's calling you to be, like clay being shaped on the potter's wheel. Most run from that silence, fearing what it reveals, like Adam hiding in the garden. But in solitude, with no one to hide behind, no noise to mask pain, you either crumble or rise. If you're intentional, committed, honest, you rise with his strength, like Lazarus stepping out of the tomb, alive and whole. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 proclaims, "If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here." This growth isn't glamorous or trendy, it's lived, not posted, like the quiet faith of Mary at Jesus' feet, choosing the better part. It's the discipline of becoming solid, carrying your worth without announcing it, validated by God, not attention, like a treasure hidden in a field. You notice your triggers by watching yourself in real time, learning your rhythms when you're creative, vulnerable, powerful, all under his guidance. Like a musician tuning their instrument to his pitch. You stop performing and align with his purpose, building a foundation steady, grounded, unshakable, like a house built on rock. That foundation can't be taken because it's earned in stillness, forged in quiet mornings and lonely nights when you showed up anyway, trusting his presence like a watchman waiting for dawn. That's real power. Undeniable without a spotlight, like a star shining in the night sky. Growth isn't about adding more, it's subtracting distractions, noise, anything keeping you small, like pruning a vine for greater fruit. In that subtraction, you find space to think, dream, evolve, become who God intended, like clay transformed into a vessel of honor. Growth happens in solitude, sacred moments where you stop running and reflect, stop seeking and become. Face everything head on with him, like a warrior facing the enemy with God's armor. That's where transformation starts, like a seed breaking through soil to reach the sun. Living alone resets your standards, showing how peaceful life can be without drama or one-sided ties, like a calm sea after a storm. You don't need chaos to feel connected or beg for consistency. You become your own peace, rooted in God, like a tree planted by streams of water. You stop chasing those who don't make space for you. Stop convincing others of your worth, like a pearl cast before swine. You showed up when no one did, held space for your healing, stood in the storm alone with God, like Noah weathering the flood. Now you don't need approval, you've chosen yourself in his name, like a soldier standing firm in battle. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1 urges, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." What's holding you back, my friend? What's the noise drowning out God's voice in your life? What's the dream he's calling you to chase? Living alone teaches the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is absence, a void, aching, fulfilling. Solitude is freedom, clarity, hearing your voice unfiltered by others but amplified by his truth, like a prophet hearing God's call. Once you hear that true voice, you don't silence it like a lion refusing to be muzzled. You become grounded, whole, thriving in quiet, choosing with purpose, revering silence as God's gift, like a sanctuary where he dwells. You love your own company so deeply that anything less than real effort feels like a violation, like an intruder in a sacred space. What once seemed acceptable half-hearted friendships, one-sided relationships, now feels disrespectful. Not because you're rigid, but because you've learned to treat yourself as God's creation, a temple of his spirit. That self-respect becomes your standard, like a banner raised in victory. You don't crave others to fill silence, you found strength in it. Built a life that doesn't need completion, like a house fully furnished by his grace. You've done the work, filled your gaps, and now see what adds value and what steals it, like a jeweler discerning true gems from fakes. You spot inconsistency in actions and words, choosing distance not from anger but from respect for the life God's given you, like a gardener weeding out what chokes growth. You're tired, maybe, demanding presence, clarity, consistency earned through battles no one saw, building your vision alone while the world moved on, like Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's walls. You're the gatekeeper of your peace, forged in solitude sacrifice, like a sword tempered in fire. The bare minimum doesn't move you. Those who stay must match what you built in the dark with God's help, like a builder laying stones with divine precision. This is solitude's silent power, sharpened discernment, choosing people for purpose, surrounding yourself with peace bringers, like a king selecting wise counselors. If they don't come, you're still whole. You've rescued yourself with his strength, like a captive set free by his hand. Manipulation and desperation fade, you're untouchable, living from power like a fortress built on his rock. James chapter 1 verse 12 confirms, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised." Solitude brings you face to face with yourself, no hiding behind relationships, like a mirror reflecting your soul. You can't shift blame or lean on others' strength. It's you, your choices, regrets, patterns laid bare before God, like a book open to his eyes. That silence is a mirror medicine, where truth can't hide, like light exposing shadows. Healing becomes a lifestyle, not a buzzword, lived in raw, unglamorous moments, like a wound slowly mending. You feel emotions in real time, sit with fears, process your past, not to stay stuck, but to move forward with God, like the prodigal son returning home to his father's embrace. Healing in solitude is real. You soothe your anxiety, learn your triggers through experience, become your own support, reason, peace, like a tree standing firm in a storm. No one can use your brokenness against you. You've gone through the fire and emerged whole in him. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, untouched by flames. Healing alone is sacred, not for applause, but for quiet consistency, crying when needed, forgiving survival mode mistakes, releasing those who left, like letting go of dead branches. You uncover the real you, not molded by others, waiting to rise like a phoenix from ashes. You build routines to protect your energy, process emotions through journaling, prayer, meditation, checking in with your spirit, like a priest tending the altar. You're intentional, not just surviving, but thriving, so anyone entering your life steps into stability, not confusion, like a guest entering a well-built home. Toxic patterns lose appeal, chaos exhausts you, dysfunction feels foreign, like a stranger in your sanctuary. You don't attain what drains you, treasuring the you that kept going without shortcuts, choosing healing over hiding, like a warrior choosing battle over retreat. Your worth isn't up for debate. You found it in quiet, built it in stillness, protected it with God's wisdom, like a treasure guarded by his hand. Living alone didn't just recover you, it rewired you, revealed you like a sculpture unveiled after years of chiseling. Peace isn't a wish, it's a defense. Relentless because you know its cost. Like a soldier defending a hard-won stronghold. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 19 reminds, "Your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God." When you're not tied down by relationships' demands, something powerful happens. You reclaim your life in ways you didn't know were possible, opening doors you didn't see, holding keys God gave you, like the disciples sent out with his authority. Want to take a spontaneous trip because your spirit says go, to see a new city, feel the wind of freedom? You can. Want to dive into a passion project without questions, like writing a song or starting a ministry? Nothing stops you. Want to work until sunrise or rest until noon because your body feels safe in his care? No guilt comes. This isn't reckless freedom, it's sacred, living authentically without a mask. Unapologetically you, in God's image, like Adam before the fall. In relationships, even good ones, you bend to keep peace, tucking away laughter, curiosity, dreams deemed too big, like a bird hiding its wings. You compromise pieces of yourself, not always by choice, but by pressure, like clay misshaped by careless hands. Living alone removes that. You're not palatable, you're you, flaws and all, fearfully and wonderfully made. That liberation lets you show up raw, trusting yourself deeply, becoming your own captain, guided by his spirit, like a ship sailing with his wind. That trust isn't taught, it's earned in solitude, showing up for yourself like a faithful servant stewarding his gifts. Confidence blooms quiet, grounded, saying, "I've got me and God's got me," like a soldier armed with his shield. No relationship can give that. It's built alone, holding your wins, sitting with failures, unshaken by his strength. Like Job, enduring trials with faith. Freedom comes with responsibility, owning your happiness, heartbreak, joy, disappointment, like a farmer tending his field. There's no safety net, but that pressure builds resilience, like steel forged in fire. Your life reflects your daily choices and you rise to it knowing it's on you, guided by God, like a builder following his blueprint. That's solitude's gift, power through ownership, not isolation, like a king ruling his domain. You live on your terms, choosing how to show up, free from betrayal for others' comfort, like a prophet speaking truth without fear. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16 urges, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Learning to enjoy your own company is rare in a world addicted to noise scrolling. Notifications, chatter, like a storm drowning out peace. Living alone strips distractions, bringing you face to face with your thoughts, fears, desires, in God's presence, like a disciple sitting at his feet. You build the most important relationship with yourself, rooted in Him, like a branch abiding in the vine. You stop meeting others to fill silence, fearing quiet evenings, like a child afraid of the dark. You embrace them, treasuring stillness where real peace lives, not in validation, but in knowing you're enough in Him. Like Paul, content in all circumstances. That strength can't be taken, it's self-sufficiency that changes everything, like a wellspring in a desert. You thrive listening to your true voice buried under expectations, whispering truth when the world screams compromise, like a prophet's cry in a wilderness. It sharpens intuition, guiding decisions aligned with your values, not others, like a compass pointing to His will. You stop pleasing, chasing acceptance, molding into roles not yours, like a square peg in a round hole. You live for peace, a rebirth, reclaiming who your world defined you, like a child of God restored to His image. Others don't complete you, they join you on your terms, and your peace like guests in a holy sanctuary. Clarity from solitude isn't just a benefit, it's the foundation of a life rooted in intention, self-respect, truth, like a house built on His rock. It's quiet confidence, moving without confusion, choosing without hesitation, living without second guessing, like a warrior marching with His orders. It reveals what matters, which patterns to release, which boundaries to build, which directions deserve your energy, like a farmer sowing in fertile soil. You create peace, fueled by your relationship with yourself and God, like a fire kindled by His Spirit. Luke chapter 10, verse 27 commands, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind." Appreciating your own company shifts you. You connect deeply with care, consistency, curiosity, like a gardener tending a soul God planted. You're not an afterthought. You're worth showing up for, like a treasure valued by its maker. You extend patience, grace, talking to yourself with love, not criticism, becoming your safe space, like the psalmist finding refuge in God. You've waited for others to love you right, but now you give yourself what no one did, liberation. A homecoming, like the prodigal son welcomed home. Self-respect becomes non-negotiable, treating your time, energy, body, dreams as sacred, like a priest guarding the temple. You don't tolerate chaos disguised as connection or chase validation from those who can't validate themselves. Like a king rejecting false counsel, you see the world differently, not shrinking dreams for others' comfort, choosing yourself in full truth, like a warrior clad in God's armor. Distractions, noise, compromise, suppression fall away, leaving space to reflect, feel, create, dream without restraint, like an artist with a blank canvas. You reconnect with passions, try new things because you want to, refining talents, exploring yourself unburied from compromise, like a buried treasure uncovered. Enjoying solitude isn't enduring it, it's evolving, finding meaning, realizing you're enough, unconditionally as God's child, like a heir to His kingdom. That's a turning point, a wellspring of quiet confidence that walks into rooms with nothing to prove, magnetic because you're whole in Him, like a light shining in darkness. You're emotionally self-sufficient, not defined by others, not grasping for connection from fear, like a tree standing alone yet fruitful. You move deliberately, confidently, deciding from alignment, not anxiety, chasing what speaks to your soul, like a hunter tracking his call. If you felt stuck between the world's noise and your heart's whispers, know this: living alone isn't loneliness, it's empowerment, self-honoring, choosing to be whole when the world wants half, like a vessel filled by His Spirit. It's claiming your truth, choosing discipline, protecting what you value, like a soldier guarding a sacred trust. Once you taste that freedom, knowing your worth isn't up for debate, you never settle again. Living alone is self-ownership, waking daily knowing this life is your schedule, silence, soul work, setbacks, breakthroughs, all guided by his hand. It's intimidating, then empowering, because you don't just live alone, you live aware, free, full, in God's light like a star blazing in his sky. Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20 proclaims, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." What's your name, my friend? Where are you at right now, fighting doubts, chasing dreams, seeking his peace? What's the vision God's placed in your heart? Are you ready to step into his quiet, to protect the sacred space he's given you? This isn't just a moment, it's a movement, a call to rise, to embrace the solitude where God's shaping you into his masterpiece. Drop amen. In the comments, declare his truth over your life. Claim his strength for your journey, like a warrior raising a battle cry. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone wrestling with noise, needing his peace, like a lifeline thrown to a drowning soul. Hit that like button, subscribe, join this community walking boldly in his purpose, like an army marching under his banner. Let's rise together, guarding our peace, embracing solitude, and shining as the unstoppable warriors God created us to be. May you walk in his light, live in his truth, and become all he's called you to be, fearless, free, and full of his glory. Amen.